Each year, millions of tons of walnuts are harvested, processed, and distributed around the globe, destined for your snack bowl, baked goods, or cold-pressed oil. From sprawling orchards to high-tech factories, the journey of a walnut is anything but simple. This is the incredible story of how walnuts go from tree to table, and how this humble nut becomes both a culinary staple and a nutritional powerhouse. Before we dive into the fascinating journey of walnut and frosting, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more behind-the-scenes stories about how everyday foods are made. Hit the like button if you love learning about where your food comes from, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Walnut farming starts in vast orchards that stretch across thousands of acres. The world's top producers include the United States, particularly California's Central Valley, as well as China, Iran, and Chile. Each walnut tree can grow over 60 feet tall and live for more than 50 years. But it takes about 5 to 7 years before a young tree begins producing a meaningful harvest. In early spring, these trees bloom with delicate flowers. Once pollinated, the flowers develop into small green husks, the protective casing that surrounds each walnut shell. Throughout the summer, the nuts grow in size, shielded by their thick green husk. Farmers monitor the trees carefully, controlling water, nutrients, and pests to ensure a healthy crop. By early autumn, the husk begins to split and dry out, revealing the hard shell inside. This is the farmer's signal. Harvest time is near. Walnut harvesting is a combination of brute force and precision. Specialized machines called tree shakers grip the trunk and shake it vigorously, causing ripe walnuts to rain down onto the orchard floor. But speed matters. Nuts left too long on the ground can mold or rot. So, in quick succession, sweepers come through the rows to gather the walnuts into windrows, or neat lines. Next, pickup machines collect the nuts and deposit them into large hoppers. Each acre can yield up to 2,000 pounds of walnuts, and large farms may process several tons per hour during peak season. The freshly harvested nuts are rushed to nearby hulling and drying facilities within hours to prevent spoilage. At the processing facility, the first step is hulling, removing the green outer husk from the shell. Machines use spinning rollers and jets of water to scrub the husk off each walnut, revealing the hard brown shell inside. Once hulled, the walnuts are still too moist for storage. That's where drying comes in. Drying tunnels blow warm, dry air through the walnuts for up to 24 hours, bringing their moisture content down to below 8%. This critical step prevents mold, bacteria, and rancidity. Once dried, the nuts are sorted and stored in large silos or bins until they're ready for cracking or sale. Next, the walnuts are transported to specialized shelling plants. First, machines separate the walnuts by size using vibrating screens and rollers. Then comes cracking. Industrial shellers apply just the right amount of pressure to break the shell without crushing the kernel inside. After cracking, the nuts pass through air separators, which remove lighter shell fragments from the heavier edible pieces. Finally, human workers or optical sorting machines inspect the kernels, removing any defective or damaged pieces. The clean, golden halves are graded based on size and color. From premium light halves to small broken pieces, these kernels are now ready for packaging or further processing into oil. For walnuts sold as snacks or baking ingredients, freshness is key. The kernels are gently cleaned again and may be lightly roasted or left raw. Then they're vacuum packed or sealed in nitrogen-flushed bags to extend shelf life. Some are chopped, seasoned, or mixed into trail mixes. Others go straight into bulk bins for commercial bakeries or food manufacturers. Every bag is labeled with grade, origin, and expiration date, all traceable back to the orchard. From farm to supermarket, freshness is preserved every step of the way. Walnuts aren't just for snacking, they're also a rich source of oil. At a walnut oil facility, premium-grade kernels are cleaned and slowly fed into a cold press. Unlike hot press methods, cold pressing uses mechanical pressure without heat or chemicals, preserving the oil's delicate flavor and nutritional content. As the press slowly grinds the nuts, golden oil flows out and is filtered through fine meshes to remove any solids. The remaining walnut cake, a protein-rich byproduct, is collected and sold for animal feed or flour production. The freshly pressed oil is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and vitamin E. It's bottled immediately in dark glass containers to protect it from light and stored in cool conditions to prevent oxidation. This luxurious oil is favored by gourmet chefs and health-conscious consumers alike. Throughout the walnut processing chain, quality control is paramount. Samples from every batch are tested for mold, aflatoxins, and pesticide residues in certified laboratories. Moisture content, kernel integrity, and color grading are constantly monitored. Automated sorting systems use high-speed cameras and lasers to detect and reject even the smallest imperfections. Walnut oil also undergoes chemical and sensory analysis to ensure flavor, clarity, and purity. Each step is documented and traceable, a requirement for international export. Thanks to these strict controls, millions of consumers can enjoy safe, high-quality walnuts year-round. Once packaged, the walnuts and walnut oil are ready for global markets. Shipping containers are climate-controlled to protect the product from heat and humidity. The U.S. exports over half of its walnut production annually, reaching over 60 countries. China, Germany, Turkey, and Japan are some of the biggest importers. Fresh walnuts are sold in grocery stores, while oil is distributed to specialty retailers, online shops, and restaurants. From farm stands to five-star kitchens, the humble walnut travels far. Modern walnut farming is increasingly sustainable. Orchards use drip irrigation, solar-powered machinery, and cover crops to reduce water use and increase biodiversity. Even the shells and hulls are recycled, used as biomass fuel, livestock bedding, or natural dyes. Researchers are exploring ways to improve disease resistance and reduce the time it takes new trees to bear fruit. And as demand for plant-based foods grows, walnuts are gaining popularity in vegan cheeses, meat substitutes, and superfood snacks. It's not just a nut, it's a crop of the future. If you enjoyed discovering how walnuts are harvested, processed, and turned into gourmet oil, make sure to subscribe for more in-depth looks at the incredible journeys behind your favorite foods. We post new episodes every week, from the farms to the factories and everything in between. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Every summer, in vast golden fields, something remarkable happens. Sweet corn ripens under the sun, reaching its peak, tender, juicy, and bursting with flavor. But what happens next is even more incredible. Within hours of harvest, these kernels begin a journey from farm to factory, undergoing a seamless transformation that locks in their freshness without using a single preservative. As machines shuck, slice, wash, and can each batch with mechanical precision, the natural sweetness and vibrant color are preserved in every can. No freezer required, no shortcuts taken. Just golden corn, sealed for months, ready to be poured into soups, salads, and side dishes around the world. Have you ever wondered how it all works? How a simple ear of corn becomes a shelf-stable staple in your kitchen? It all begins in the early morning, when the air is cool and the cornfields glisten with dew. Timing is everything. Farmers know that sweet corn must be picked at just the right moment, when the sugars are at their highest and the kernels are full but not yet starchy. Typically, this happens just 18 to 20 days after pollination. Miss that window, and the taste begins to fade. Specialized harvesters roll through the fields at dawn, slicing the stalks and stripping the ears with incredible speed. In just 1 hour, a single machine can collect enough corn to fill thousands of cans. Every second counts. The longer the corn sits after harvest, the more flavor and texture it loses. That's why, as soon as it's picked, the corn is loaded into trucks and rushed to the processing plant, often arriving within just a few hours. From here, the real transformation begins. Once the corn arrives at the processing facility, there's no time to waste. It's immediately unloaded and fed into a series of automated systems designed to handle thousands of ears per hour. The first step, shucking. Massive machines strip away the outer husks and pull off the silk threads with spinning brushes and air jets. What remains is the clean golden ear of corn, ready for the next stage. Each ear is guided into a precision cutter that slices the kernels away from the cob in a single motion. The blades are calibrated to remove just the right amount, maximizing yield while leaving the tough core behind. As the kernels drop onto conveyor belts, they form a steady golden river, flowing into high-pressure washers. Here, they're thoroughly rinsed to remove dirt, stray silk, and any remaining debris. Clean, cut, and gleaming, the corn is now ready for its first encounter with heat. To preserve the corn's color, texture, and natural sweetness, the next step is crucial: blanching. The freshly cut kernels flow into long stainless steel tunnels where they're briefly exposed to hot water or steam. For just 60 to 90 seconds, temperatures rise to nearly 95 degrees Celsius, just enough to deactivate natural enzymes and stop spoilage before it starts. This quick pre-cook not only extends shelf life, but also helps the kernels retain their signature golden hue and crisp bite. Once blanched, the corn moves straight into a cold water rinse, halting the cooking process instantly. This sudden temperature change, known as thermal shocking, locks in quality and prepares the corn for packaging. Still steaming, still fresh, and now perfectly preserved, the kernels are gently lifted by conveyors toward the next stage, filling the cans. The clock is ticking, but the corn is right on schedule. With blanching complete, the corn travels down stainless steel chutes toward the filling station, where speed meets precision. Sterilized cans glide along the conveyor, open and waiting. As the kernels cascade into each one, automated fillers measure exact quantities by weight or volume, ensuring consistency in every serving. Next comes the filling liquid, a mild solution of water, sometimes with a touch of salt or sugar. This liquid surrounds the corn, creating the right environment for preservation while maintaining the kernel's shape and flavor. No human hands touch the product. The entire process is sterile, automated, and incredibly fast, each line filling hundreds of cans per minute. Once filled, the cans are gently shaken to remove air bubbles and topped off to the perfect level. Then, in one seamless motion, they move toward the seaming station. Soon, they'll be sealed, sterilized, and ready to face the test of time. As the filled cans glide into position, precision sealers get to work. Each lid is pressed into place and sealed using a method called double seaming, a mechanical process that crimps the lid and can body together, creating an airtight lock. No air gets in. No moisture escapes. The corn inside is now protected, but one critical step remains: sterilization. Sealed cans are loaded into massive retort chambers, industrial pressure cookers designed for food safety. Inside, they're subjected to intense heat and pressure, typically reaching 121 degrees Celsius for up to 30 minutes. This thermal process kills any remaining bacteria, ensuring the corn is shelf-stable for years without refrigeration. It also preserves texture, flavor, and color, without the need for chemical preservatives. Once sterilized, the cans are gradually cooled with water to avoid deformation, then released onto the next line. Still warm, still perfectly sealed. The corn is now safe, sealed, and shelf-ready. As the sterilized cans emerge from cooling, they move into the quality control zone, where precision and safety take center stage. Automated scanners first check for dents, leaks, or imperfect seals. Random samples are pulled from each batch and sent to lab technicians, who test for pH levels, vacuum integrity, fill weight, and microbial safety. Every can must pass strict standards before it reaches a store shelf. If even a single parameter falls outside the acceptable range, the entire batch can be held or discarded. Once approved, the cans are dried, polished, and guided toward the labeling station. Here, high-speed machines wrap each one with a printed label, displaying product details, nutrition facts, lot number, and expiration date. In seconds, plain metal becomes a recognizable grocery item. It's no longer just food, it's a trusted brand, ready for homes, restaurants, and lunchboxes around the world. With labels in place, the cans move into the final stage, packaging. Grouped into sets, they're placed into sturdy cardboard trays or shrink-wrapped for protection. Palletized by automated arms, each stack is carefully organized for storage or shipment. From here, they're loaded onto trucks bound for supermarkets, food service providers, and export hubs across the globe. Some will sit on pantry shelves for months. Others will be opened just days later. But thanks to this carefully controlled process, the corn inside will taste just as fresh as the day it was picked. A journey that started in the quiet of a sunlit field now ends at your table, ready to serve any time of year. If you enjoyed discovering how everyday foods are made, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more behind-the-scenes looks into the world of food, machines, and everything in between. Thanks for watching. bottle of olive oil. Familiar, simple, everyday. But behind that smooth, golden pour is a journey most of us never think about. Today we're going behind the scenes to show you how it's really made, from the tree to your table. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe to Top Discovery 4K for more amazing stories like this one. Now, let's explore how olive oil comes to life. It all begins in the groves, wide open landscapes filled with rows of olive trees, their silvery green leaves shimmering in the sun. Some of these trees are new, planted just a few years ago. Others, they've been around since before the founding of the United States. Their trunks are twisted, their bark weathered, but they still produce fruit, season after season, just as they have for centuries. The climate is hot, dry, and challenging, but that's exactly what olive trees like. No irrigation, no pampering, just sunlight, rocky soil, and time. Olives grow slowly through the summer, ripening from firm green to deep purple and black. By fall, it's time to harvest, and timing matters. Harvest too early, and the oil will be bold and peppery. Too late, and the flavors flatten, and quality drops. The best producers aim for just the right balance. High in antioxidants, full of fresh aroma, and low in acidity. Some farms use modern tools, long mechanical arms that gently shake the trees, dropping fruit onto nets. Others stick with tradition, hand-picking each olive to avoid bruising and ensure only the best make it in. No matter the method, the clock is ticking the moment the olive leaves the branch. Within hours, those olives need to reach the mill, because once picked, they begin to ferment. Coming up, what happens when those olives arrive at the mill? Once the olives arrive at the mill, the clock is still ticking. The first stop? Cleaning. They're unloaded into a hopper and carried along a conveyor belt, where a powerful air blower removes leaves, twigs, and any stray debris from the grove. Then they're given a gentle bath, rinsed in clean cold water to wash away dirt, dust, and tiny insects. It might seem like a simple step, but it's crucial. Even a few damaged or dirty olives can throw off the flavor of an entire batch. Next comes sorting. Some facilities use high-speed optical scanners to detect color and shape, rejecting underripe or overripe fruit. Others rely on trained workers to hand-inspect the flow. The goal is clear: only healthy, clean, ripe olives make it to the next stage. Everything, skin, flesh, and pit, will be used. Nothing is wasted. Because the next step? It's time to crush them all into a thick, aromatic paste. Now that the olives are clean and sorted, it's time to break them down. The entire fruit, skin, flesh, and pit, is sent into a crusher. Traditionally, giant stone wheels would slowly roll over the olives, grinding them into a thick paste. Some small mills still use this method for its gentle touch and rustic charm. But in modern production, stainless steel hammer mills are the standard. They work faster and more efficiently, breaking the olives into a smooth, uniform paste in seconds. Why crush everything? Because the oil lives inside tiny cells in the flesh. Crushing releases the oil along with water and solid bits, all mixed together in this rich, greenish-brown paste. But here's the key: everything is kept cool. This is cold pressing, and the temperature is carefully controlled, usually below 27 degrees Celsius, about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, to preserve the delicate flavor compounds and antioxidants. With the paste ready, the next step is just as important: gently stirring it to bring the oil together. With the olive paste now ready, it's time for a slow, gentle process called malaxation. The paste is transferred into large stainless steel mixing tanks, where it's slowly stirred for 20 to 40 minutes. The goal? To let the tiny droplets of oil come together into larger ones, a process known as oil coalescence. It's like giving the oil time to find itself. The temperature is carefully maintained, still part of the cold press process, because heat might increase yield, but it also damages flavor and nutrients. For high-quality extra virgin olive oil, flavor always comes first. Some mills use a nitrogen atmosphere or vacuum-sealed mixers to keep oxygen out. That's because exposure to air can cause oxidation, which dulls the taste and shortens shelf life. The paste starts to look glossy, almost buttery. That sheen means it's ready. Up next is the step where things start to separate, literally. After malaxation, the olive paste moves to one of the most high-tech steps in the process: separation. Here's where the oil is finally pulled away from everything else. In the past, workers would press the paste between mats using heavy stone weights. But today, most producers use a horizontal decanter centrifuge, a long, fast-spinning drum that uses centrifugal force to separate materials by density. As the drum spins, 3 layers form: the solid olive pulp, called pomace, the vegetation water, and the golden layer we're after, extra virgin olive oil. But it doesn't stop there. The oil goes through a second, vertical centrifuge, which removes even the tiniest traces of water and solids, leaving it clear, vibrant, and ready for the next phase. No chemicals, no added heat, just physics, precision, and patience. This is the first moment the oil stands on its own, pure, raw, and incredibly fragrant. At this point, the oil is fresh, raw, and rich in aroma, but it still holds a big decision for producers: to filter or not to filter. Some oils go straight from the centrifuge to the bottle, leaving tiny bits of olive flesh suspended in the liquid. This creates a cloudy appearance and bold, earthy flavor. It's often labeled as new oil or olio nuovo, and some people love its intensity, but it doesn't stay fresh for long. Filtered oil, on the other hand, is passed through cotton or cellulose filters to remove any remaining particles. The result? A clear, smooth oil with a longer shelf life and more consistent taste over time. There's no right or wrong choice. It depends on the producer's style and the market they serve. But whatever path they choose, one thing is critical. The oil needs to be protected from its 3 biggest enemies: light, air, and heat. That's where proper storage comes in. Once filtered or not, the olive oil is transferred into airtight stainless steel tanks, often under a layer of nitrogen gas. This keeps oxygen out and helps preserve flavor and freshness. The tanks are stored in cool, dark rooms, away from heat and light, because both can speed up oxidation and spoil the delicate balance of flavors. But before anything is bottled, the oil must pass a series of tests. In professional labs, technicians measure free acidity levels. For extra virgin status, it must be below 0.8%. They also check peroxide values, which show how much oxidation has occurred. Then comes the sensory test. Human tasters trained to detect subtle notes of grass, almond, artichoke, or fruit, as well as flaws like rancidity or mold. Only oil that passes both chemical and sensory evaluations earns the name extra virgin olive oil. And once approved, it's finally ready to meet the world. One bottle at a time. Bottling is where care meets presentation. The oil is gently pumped from the storage tanks into the bottling line. Each bottle, usually dark green or amber glass, is designed to block out light and extend shelf life. Before being filled, bottles are flushed with nitrogen to remove any lingering oxygen. Then the oil is poured in, measured to the milliliter, and sealed immediately. Labels are applied with pride, showing the harvest date, origin, variety, and extra virgin certification. Some producers even print lot numbers or QR codes that trace the oil back to a specific grove and harvest day. Finally, bottles are boxed, stacked on pallets, and shipped across the country, or across the world. The entire process, from grove to bottle, often takes less than 24 hours for premium oils. And once it hits your kitchen, the real magic begins, drizzle by drizzle. Up next, the final chapter: types of olive oil, sustainability, and closing thoughts. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how olive oil is made, from ancient groves to your kitchen shelf, give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves great food as much as you do. And don't forget to subscribe to Top Discovery 4K for more behind-the-scenes looks at how the world's most iconic foods and products come to life. We've got new videos every week, filmed in stunning 4K, so you can see the details, hear the stories, and experience the craft behind the things you use every day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. They once roamed the vast North American plains by the tens of millions. Today, bison are making a comeback, not just as a symbol of American heritage, but as a sustainable source of lean, nutritious meat. But how is bison meat actually made? From sprawling ranches in the Midwest to USDA-approved processing facilities, and finally to your dinner plate, the journey of bison meat is both rugged and refined. In this episode, we go behind the scenes of the modern bison meat industry, where tradition meets science, and where every step is designed to respect the animal, preserve the land, and produce high-quality protein. Bison ranching begins in wide, open landscapes, from Montana's rolling hills to the grasslands of South Dakota and Alberta. Unlike conventional livestock, bison are minimally domesticated. They retain their wild instincts, making them both hardy and low maintenance.
Ah, the Western American Plains. That grand sweeping frontier where the buffalo once grazed in uncountable numbers. Or did they? After all, aren't those actually bison? Has the buffalo become a victim of identity theft? It's easy to understand why people confuse bison and buffalo. After all, they're both large, horned, ox-like animals of the Bovidae family. But there are differences. Specifically, the 3 H's: home, hump, and horns. Contrary to the song Home on the Range, buffalo do not roam the American West. The misnomer, which continues to be used today, is often attributed to confused explorers. In reality, those woolly bovines who called the North American plains, as well as parts of Europe, home, are bison. Of the 2 varieties of buffalo, water buffalo are indigenous to South Asia, while Cape buffalo roam the savannas of Africa. You may also notice that bison have a hump at the shoulders, while buffalo don't. During the winter, this hump allows the bison's head to function as a plow, sweeping away drifts of snow as it wanders the plains in search of food. The next sign is the horns. Buffalo tend to have large horns with very pronounced arcs. Some have reached more than 6 feet, or 1.8 meters in length. The horns of a bison, however, are much shorter and very sharp. If you want one more way to tell the difference between a bison and a buffalo, you can check for a beard. Buffalo are beardless, while bison have a beard that any hipster would be envious of. While it's doubtful that the confusion will get cleared up anytime soon, in the end it must be said that bison, not buffalo, are the iconic animals of the American West.
They thrive on native prairie grasses, roam freely, and require no artificial shelter. Bison calves are typically born in spring, after a natural breeding season the previous summer. The newborn calf, usually weighing between 30 to 40 pounds, is up and walking within an hour. It's covered in a golden red fur, earning it the nickname Red Dog among ranchers. During the first few weeks, the calf stays close to its mother. It nurses frequently, learns the herd's signals, and follows her everywhere. By 2 months, calves begin nibbling on grass while still nursing. Their coats darken to brown, and they start mingling with other calves. Throughout summer and fall, calves learn to follow the herd across different pastures in rotational grazing cycles. They also learn survival behaviors, how to detect threats, when to move, and how to stay protected within the herd. By winter, they've developed a thick undercoat and woolly mane to withstand sub-zero temperatures. No barns are needed. Bison evolved for this. At 12 months, a young bison can weigh around 500 to 600 pounds. Males typically grow larger than females, and their horns begin to curve upward in a distinct arc. By 18 to 24 months, the bison reaches market maturity. At this stage, ranchers assess the animal's condition, conformation, and weight to decide whether it's ready for processing, breeding, or continued growth. Throughout this time, minimal human contact ensures the bison retains its natural behaviors. Stress is avoided not just for welfare, but also because high stress levels can affect meat quality, triggering biochemical changes that lead to toughness or off flavors. In essence, a bison's early life mirrors the rhythms of its wild ancestors, shaped by land, seasons, and instinct, not by confinement or artificial feeding. This commitment to raising animals as naturally as possible is what makes bison meat not just different, but truly special. Ranchers monitor herds from a distance using binoculars or drones, minimizing contact to keep the animals calm and undisturbed. Throughout the year, bison are rotated across pastures in a method called rotational grazing, mimicking the natural migratory behavior of wild bison herds. This enriches the soil, prevents overgrazing, and promotes native plant diversity. Bison are not treated with growth hormones or routine antibiotics. This natural approach is key to the industry's emphasis on sustainability and animal welfare. By 18 to 24 months of age, selected bison reach their market weight, typically around 1,000 to 1,200 pounds. Now begins the transition from pasture to processing. Unlike cattle, bison are notoriously difficult to herd. They're faster, stronger, and more unpredictable. To minimize stress, ranchers use low-stress handling systems, including curved corrals, quiet chutes, and natural barriers that guide the animals calmly. The goal: move them without shouting, prodding, or panic. Only small groups are transported at a time, using specially designed livestock trailers. These are equipped with non-slip flooring and good ventilation. Transport is kept short, usually under 4 hours, to reduce stress and ensure meat quality. At the processing facility, animals are unloaded quietly and given time to rest. Most modern facilities are inspired by Dr. Temple Grandin's designs, emphasizing curved walkways and sightline barriers to prevent fear. Trimmed and portioned into retail cuts like bison steaks, ground bison, roasts, and stew meat. Bison meat is deep red, naturally lean, and slightly sweeter than beef. Because of its low-fat content, it cooks faster, making precise butchering essential. Some processors also produce specialty items like bison jerky, sausages, and bone broth. Every package is vacuum sealed, labeled, and stored at precise temperatures to maintain freshness before shipping. Once packaged, the bison meat enters cold chain logistics, a temperature-controlled supply chain that keeps products fresh until they reach markets. From regional distributors to gourmet grocery stores and restaurants, bison meat is often marketed as premium, heritage protein. In kitchens across the world, chefs prepare bison in diverse ways: grilled bison ribeye, ground bison burgers, slow-cooked bison chili, smoked bison sausage. Because of its low-fat content, bison should be cooked gently, medium rare to medium, to retain tenderness and flavor. Restaurants often highlight its sustainable story on menus, while home cooks experiment with bison as a flavorful alternative to beef. Every bite carries the legacy of a species once nearly extinct, now thriving thanks to conservation ranching. Bison meat isn't just food, it's a story of revival, responsibility, and respect. Once hunted to near extinction, the American bison has become a symbol of ecological restoration and ethical ranching. Behind every steak is a rancher working in harmony with the land, an animal raised with dignity, and a commitment to sustainability from pasture to plate. As demand grows, the industry continues to balance production with preservation, proving that food can know up. So the next time you see bison on the menu, you'll know, it's not just what you eat, it's how it was made that matters. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes journey into how bison meat is made, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into how the world really works.